Okay, we're gonna get started. Hello everybody, good evening. Hello. My name is Melissa Heil. I'm the Executive Director of the Washington Historical Society, and I really want to welcome you all here tonight. Welcome to class of 69. A lot of new faces here today, which is wonderful. We love having new people. Joyce has taught us a new thing. Of all the programs we've had, we just trip over the boards. Joyce has shown us that there's a better way. There's a better way. So first out, before we get to the program, which I know I'm sure you're excited about, I'm excited about it too. I just want to talk about a couple of things the Historical Society has been up to of late. You may have seen we have a new bronze sculpture that we have gifted to Washington. It's in Washington Park. It is a tribute to the Heil Pony Farm. So if you haven't seen it, you're going to go to Washington Park. It's right off of Lincoln Avenue. And maybe you all knew this, but Washington Park is formerly Heil's Pony Pasture. So it was really an appropriate place to put our sculpture. We were able to do that with the help of an anonymous donor. No, it wasn't anonymous. Sharon and Johnny both did that for us. Sorry. And so we're really excited about that. Many of you probably, this is the first time you've been in our building, and I hope you think it's beautiful. We think it's beautiful. We've done a lot of work inside and out on this building. You're probably wondering, what are these crazy sticks hanging from the wall? And so those are, it's like a museum kind of quality hanging system. It's in progress, as you can see. So that is my project for the next few weeks, is to, we're going to do a display on Washington Square. Okay, the most important parts of Washington. So when you come back, hopefully we'll have that done. If not, they should fire me. If you are not a member of the Historical Society, I would welcome you to join. The price is right. We need all the support that we can get, and members, of course, get our newsletter, which comes out 4 times a year, get emails from me, so that they know what's coming up at the Historical Society, so they would find out about programs like this. And our winter exhibit, which I'll give you a sneak preview. Our winter exhibit this year is going to be on antique toys. So maybe some of you were here 2 winters ago when we did a quilt exhibit. It was really popular. The quilts were beautiful. Last winter we did an exhibit on wedding dresses, which also the dresses were beautiful, and I think people enjoyed it. And this year we're going to do toys. And just as a little aside, I was laughing about my toys that I have from my early childhood in the early 80s, and Jewel told me those are antiques too. So that's good. Okay, so we've got these membership forms. I'm going to invite you to pick one up on your way out if you want to. We have a guest book, and we would love it if you would sign that today, especially if you are here for your class reunion and are coming from out of town. We had a gentleman in today from Port Angeles, Washington. We had Rick Walker here the other day, and he lives in Michigan now. If you don't know about Rick Walker, he's a rocket. You're going to want to ask us afterwards, because that's pretty exciting too. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Meneer, actually, who has some words to share.
69. I was a freshman. My sister was a senior, and she worked in the cafeteria, so I got 2 free lunches. She didn't eat, but I did, so I always enjoyed that. But she passed away when she was 58. Wish you a good time this weekend. Washington's changed. I think for the better. I think it's gotten even better than it was as we grew up, and we're very proud of what we are today and what the square still continues to look like. And we hope it continues even with IDOT shrink a little bit. We're disappointed about that. We'll see what happens if they ever get it. I think people realize when IDOT schedules money, it takes a little while for them to actually get the project. So nice to have you, Joyce. Whereas the Washington Historical Society annually honors an individual with roots in Washington has gone on to make significant contributions to society. And whereas Joyce Blumenshine, grew up in Washington, is a graduate of Washington District 308 High School. And whereas Joyce Blumenshine has been a tireless advocate for environmental issues since the 1970s. And whereas Joyce served as a conservation chair for the Illinois chapter of the Sierra Club for 2 decades. Whereas Joyce, at her own cost, traveled to public meetings at the state capitol and city council meetings throughout the state to advocate on behalf of environmental issues in order to protect clean water, clean air, and preserve habitat. And whereas Illinois House of Representatives in 2009 passed a resolution recognizing Joyce's efforts to protect and preserve Illinois' environment. The resolution called Joyce a leader in stopping pollution in rivers, streams, and wetlands from coal mine runoff. And whereas in November 2022, Sierra Club's Illinois chapter named Joyce a prairie protector, and now, therefore, I, Gary W. Muneer, Mayor of the City of Washington, Illinois, do hereby proclaim September 26, 2024, Washington Historical Roots Celebration Day. Congratulations. This seal is from the late 1800s. We've had it repaired a couple times, but it's remarkable that it still works.
Patty?
I get to introduce Joyce. I've known Joyce since kindergarten, and I stood on the sidelines and watched as I didn't envy her achievements, but I aspired to them, and I just kind of kept track of how does she do this, and this was academic, it was musical. She played the piano, she sang in chorus, she played the church organ, the violin. And she also was an athlete, swim team. I used to tell Joyce that one time, and one time only in my life, I got first place in 50-meter freestyle. And I went running home to tell my dad, and he looked at me and I said, well, Blumenshine's were on vacation. That's interesting. In the intervening years, decades actually, you lose track of one another. Life goes on. But then I ran into her in Walgreens parking lot. Didn't really run into her. And I would see you walking your dog in East Bluff late at night. Joyce. My way to work was like 10:30 at night. And in the years since, she put me to work on environmental projects, for sure. I loved it, and I learned so much. And I learned also that Joyce hadn't stood still, hadn't let life happen to her. She did not disappoint. So thank you. And I'm going to have to read this because I want to make sure I get it right. Is that she has brought and continues to bring her considerable drive and determination, intellect and talents, remarkable diligence, discipline, hope, and a certain sense of fearlessness to effect changes in both local and statewide levels in order to provide a better environment for all of us. Now, to be sure, Joyce is the most self-effacing person I have ever known. And I know she would admonish me, Pat, I didn't do this by myself. To be sure, okay, I'll give you that. But she nourishes, but her work with groups in the community is just really wonderful. everywhere she goes, and different groups, Prairie Rivers Network, Sierra Club, different efforts. People know her, they trust her, she focuses and she nourishes this community, a wide, far-flung population of people that all come together for the environment, for their concerns. And they respect her, she remembers you. I mean, she remembers all their names. I'm so impressed. So, thank you, Joyce, for your service to our community and for all the time. So it's her story, and I'll let her tell it. And thank you, Joyce, again.
So very special. Thank you, Pat Washington. I mean, time is it because, folks, it will go on with early just this 1 minute. So I just want to say, hello, Washington, D.C., Tazewell County. One of my mother's favorite things, and it is good to be with you tonight. I am so grateful for each and every one of you being here because I have to say, imagination, would I have thought I could get to Washington? I have been an environmental activist, and I don't know people sometimes. I never intended to do this, it just kind of happened. So tonight I will kind of go through a couple of things about how it happened and why I think it's important, what Washington did for me, and I still carry with me, and I think about a lot that enabled me to do the work I've done for decades. And Pat has gone in here and said, I'm not really a public speaker, but somewhere along the line, something told me to stand up and speak up. The people of Washington, when I grew up, we had community, we went out and talked to people, we could go anywhere around town. My brother's here, Phil from Indianapolis, my sister's here, her husband Mike from Minneapolis, and you know, we just grew up as kids, but we had people in the neighborhood that talked to us and helped us learn, and also we had teachers. And I can't emphasize this enough. We had teachers who made us compare and contrast. We had to show our work. We had to have more than one source, not just Encyclopedia Britannica. We had to list our sources, and we had to look for different sources and find out what was their authority, what was behind them, which, you know, kind of funding or whatever. We learned so many valuable lessons through the great schools here. I carry the opportunities and music and many things here. You know, there's class members. It was pretty amazing what we had at that time, and it's even better now. So that's the goal, I think, for all of us. The thing, as the mayor said, see things grow and improve. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the past and then go into a little history and then the present. So this is Washington. Please let me go on my greatest thanks to Washington Historical and this great setup and the honor, which it truly is, for this award. Our grandpa was Henry Esser, and if you notice the left side of the square, you may have noticed the heading on the top of the building. That was his second grocery store. The original store burned, and then he rebuilt. And that was in 1920. He was a grocer that my mom and my grandma told me stories about. Ledger, pages and pages back then, of credits he would carry for people who needed help getting food. And he kept the business going through some really tough times in the early 1900s. And then my mother was born some months later after that second fire. And she was a lawyer, which is kind of unusual at that time. And when she went to get job interviews in Chicago, she'd tell me her stories about, you know, it wasn't an opportunity for women. And understandably, sort of coming home from the war, a lot of men were back for jobs, but she had a tough time. Thankfully, things have improved. And we were lucky she was home at being a mom, but she also volunteered in a lot of groups. That impressed me. And then my dad, John Henry Blumenshine, grew up east of town, on Route 24, between here and Eureka. He grew up without electricity in the house, without running water, and with outside facilities. And he would tell me stories when the original Route 24 was built as a real road, not a dirt path. He would take his pony with water kegs. He would come out and get water for the workers, cup by cup, who were working out there with horses and handwork, and we can't imagine that. So I am grateful and thankful for my elders, for the wise people that were in this community, because they were happy and loved, and we were just kids being kids. We also got a great education here. And that enabled me for a 31 career as a librarian. I wanted a job ticket out of school, and at that time, librarians were really into mail. I worked to save money, got the next degree to move up, and I worked in Alaska for 2 years, which was an eye-opener. Where I worked was in a small native Yupik village called Akicha. It was on the Kuskokwim River. And the Kuskokwim River runs from Bethel. It actually goes into the sea and ocean, the Pacific Ocean. But then I was in Akicha, and then the middle village where I worked was Tulasat. And Antioch was the far end of that school district. I was an itinerant librarian. I traveled every week to a different village and spent a day working with staff there, giving in-service things for teachers, giving special programs for kids, helping straighten out things, either slept in my sleeping bag on the library floor or on the couch of our teacher in the village. Housing was very limited there, and both older villages. And it was living as a minority in a Yupik native village. Now those are the language, they call themselves First People. And we're all immigrants. I'm proud of my grandpa coming from Germany. When he was little, his family needed money. He was hired to work at a farm to help with money for the family. They were to feed him, give him more. He was starving. He had not enough food. He ate raw eggs, and he slept in the barn. So immigrants have faced difficult times forever. Irish, German, whomever. And also, Native people have faced difficult times. Currently, in the Akicha area in the UK, they live what is called a subsistence lifestyle. They hunt and fish for their main food, but then, of course, the current lifestyle is leaving its way in. And living there, I experienced a different culture and also remoteness. It was one little store, and basically teachers shipped in food for 6 months at a time because not much of there was right eat or it was very expensive. So that was an eye-opener experience. I wrote grants. I got the first book collection in native Yupik language that were in my free libraries in the district. Somehow that got missed. But those books were available in Bethel, which had a bigger district. And I got some new building improvements. So all of these things were amazing. That you worked at every level, and you all may have done that jobs, and you just have to open the building and clean up the building, and days in the winter when it was 25 below, and have to get a lighter or get the maintenance guy to unfreeze the doors. And you just did what you had to do. And the Yupik phrase for that district was last no more, because the kids were not native English speakers, they spoke their own native language. And so they had to struggle. And the culture was struggle. And I respect that. So moving on. When I was in college, my freshman year, 1970s, that was the first Earth Day. It was March 22nd. And that spring, I marched on campus with our rally. I picked up garbage along the highways, which we were trying to do good deeds, and I watched the news. And I think about this a lot because it really impressed me. President Nixon was in office, and we had the most amazing legislation happen, and that was done almost like unanimous bipartisan votes in our Congress in Washington, D.C. So the Clean Air Act established for the first time, really, pollutant control, so that the nasty acids, heavy metals, contaminants that can really hurt our health, or trigger asthma, were started to be controlled. The Clean Water Act, Ohio River had caught on fire, and this was the effort to control what is going into the river and really give us our base for clean water. which we have much better now than I ever met. And then endangered species. It started protections. It wasn't just about iconic species like the polar bear. It was about things that help our web of life, help us to be sustained. And I'm talking about really need bees on the endangered species because they are in trouble, and we're in trouble. Bees are in trouble because I sure love fruit and nuts, and I don't know what people a lot. So, President Nixon also created our very first environmental protection agency. That was 1970. So, my roots in Washington gave me a listening ear. Yeah, I think it was a need to communicate or listen to people. You know, that art in this day of social media may have changed, but I sure enjoyed it. My mother always said she was inoculated with a phonograph needle. Some days it's just like that, but we really valued talking to people as a family and with relatives, and I want to thank the family that are here tonight. I'm so happy to see you. This is what I was doing as a librarian. And then after the 70s, I went to a Sierra meeting and I got involved. There were some great people there working and doing things, and I started to volunteer. So having others and having that listening opportunity and discussion, listening to others, hearing them out, discussing things openly, fairly. I mean, that was the model, and that's what I carried with me, and with being in Washington. And we did that in Washington, and I valued it. So I'm going to give you 4 case examples, so to speak, of environmental issues and tell you how I got involved in a little bit about them. So bear with me. This happened by a phone call. I got a call from a guy I'd never met or heard of, John Ritzy, and he said, I saw your name, and we need help. We're fighting the banner strip mine. Now, strip mine is a surface mine. They take off the top layers of earth, 50 feet down, maybe 70. This one was going to go 90 feet down in some places, and it was a little over 600 meters. So the red line is the outline, and all this in the middle would have been a strip mine. Now, you can see a lot of water there. It is in the floodplain of the Illinois River. If this is spring, so definitely it's flooded. And in dry season, the water would be back toward the Illinois River, which is out here. Rice Lake State Conservation Area is down to the south, which is a historic, nationally recognized migratory flyway habitat. So I'm talking about some very sensitive environmental locations. So I went to John's house, and he had a kitchen table with full of people all around it, and we started planning. Oh my God. This issue got to be a really big deal. We fought it. I hired an attorney for a road closure hearing. I found another attorney to handle this, and used resources for the community, and especially Mayor Kenny Fuller, who lived right up here. Sewage treatment plant for Banner, a small town in the northern part of Fulton County, not far from the southern edge of Peoria County, has a historic record. The strip line there could have not only ruined their sewer lagoons, but also their water, and made life terribly horrible for the people. Strip mines use blasting, dynamite, a lot of dust, a lot of noise. And the worry is not only for the people in their community, but for the wildlife and this incredible water resource in the river. So this project was so bad, so egregious, that it got to the attention of the Illinois Attorney General's Office, Environmental Bureau, and to the great credit of our state, they got in the lawsuit with us to fight the permit. And by golly, it got defeated. So that was the it was a lot of years, a huge amount of meetings, but anyway, what I'm saying is that we did it together. I couldn't have done it alone. But it took John reaching out, it took me responding, it took Kenny Fuller, the mayor, to bring his people together. And by that community effort, they saved that area. I'm so proud to say this. Most of this area now is in a nature conservancy. It is a set-aside wetland done by Prairie Resources in Macomb. That's my story. That was, I was very honored to be honored for that because we did a statewide petition through Sierra Club. We got thousands of signatures, and it just was. So, talking about elders, wise people, people in the community that have their roots and connections, that is a key for any environmentalist to many issues. And I want to point out details. I was desperate to find somebody in Canton who would help me fight the North Canton strip mine, another strip mine taken out the land, because it was in the headwaters of Canton, the public water source for the Canton Village City. I put an ad several weeks in the Canton paper and said, a word, strip mine coming to Canton. Please call Joyce and my phone number. We need help. And Brenda, bless her heart, was the only person who called me. And I tracked down Canton, we met, planned a meeting at the library, more people came, and more meetings. She got going. I got Sierra water expert to do manhole and bird rate, the little bugs and critters in the stream monitoring to assess the quality of the streams. I conducted the Prairie Rivers Network, Tyler's there. They came and helped with water sampling and work. We got experts pulled together from multiple sources. And whether you are the hub of the wheel, driving an issue, or many times, I'm just one of the spokes that helps keep it turning. There's a role for all of us, because I had no real background for this. But I was motivated in my heart and in my spirit to answer these phone calls or trying to reach out and somebody call me. And that's what it takes. I really think it takes reaching across, whether it's an aisle, reaching across the community, reaching across, to try to reach out and talk to somebody. So we saved our journey, including some beautiful steep ravines, tributary small streams feeding the major stream of Congress Creek, went into Canton Lake, and those were saved from water. And that was a long bad too. Before the turn was good. And so here is an issue over on the Peoria side of the river. And this was the expansion of the hazardous waste landfill at the west side of Peoria. Now, most people don't know that's there. It now is in closure, thank heavens. But they wanted to double the size and take in hundreds of thousands of tons more hazardous waste. Hazardous waste landfills are the worst of the worst. That is the most toxic, the most dangerous waste. And I want to thank one of my heroes, personally, Tom Edwards. You may have heard him go with the Journal Star for a long time, and then he just threw himself into total environmental advocacy. And he and I reached out to other people. We reached out to the Native American community, because just about a mile from the entrance of this waste site is there 7 circles gathering place. And this is my idea for a Trail of Tears March. We had signs, banners, it rained, of course. We went from the roadway entering the hazardous waste to the entry of their 7 circles. And this is not the only group that stepped up. There was a new group that formed thanks to a whole bunch of people. Peoria Families Against Toxic Waste. Sierra Club was deeply involved. There were other people and community members participated because we had, I believe it was 5 days of hearings with the county board. And it had to be determined. I hired experts, we found experts, and we had a great attorney. And by God, that expansion was stopped. And the reason is, was community involvement, and we got the facts. We did not exaggerate. We got facts. We had the proof. We had a hydrogeologist, and that is what we did. So one thing that is very close to home, and this is my last example. This is here now, and it's very important for all of us because it's happening. So this is the concern about high-pressure liquefied carbon dioxide. Not only the pipelines, but now in Pekin, a company called Alto wants to have sequestration. Sequestration is a deep, deep injection of high-pressure CO2, almost a mile down, into deep sandstone layers. And the theory is the pressure of the CO2 will push out the brine and salty water between the microscopic almost bits of sandstone. And then it can stay there. Now, what I don't hear a good answer for is where will that brightness control. What would that actually do? Some information out saying it actually can raise the surface of the ground, but we've got a lot more work to do. But just a few weeks ago in Pekin at the Miracle Festival table for 2 days, here is Elton Roque. He is a resident and he is one of the leaders there. They have a Facebook group with 1,000 people or more. And we are working a lot because here is the concern. It is our aquifer. Our aquifer is the sole source, federal US EPA designated aquifer, the only one because people depend on it for water. I want to point out, Washington is here, here's Oregon, Haven, and you can go on to Mason County, you can go east to McLean, northern part of Logan, and Lincoln is there, and Atlanta, and on over to DeWitt, Maroa, and I want to point out going to Champaign, Urbana, and east. That's a lot of people needing drinking water, needing water for their animals, to have the right to have a well that is not polluted. But we think is that. Now, companies doing this, I don't know there's no risk because all this process is going to be perfectly safe. Well, question. On September 13th, Friday, the first public information that there was a CO2 leak indicator at the Archer Daniels ADM plant was made public. Pretty disconcerting. Federal EPA knew about this for several months. I know it takes a while to write a violation notice. That's the way it goes. Hey, was the public informed? No. ADM knew about this at least in 2022. Years earlier, did they follow their required filing of emergency response remediation plan? And also, did they file the required notification of EPA about this problem? No. That is pretty concerning. So here is the poster child of success in Illinois for the only current class 6, which is the really serious ones that go down and contain things that can cause a lot of problems, high pressure CO2. And they did not follow the procedures. Now, for us in the environmental community, it does not give us any comfort. For those of you all here in Washington that has a well and for other locations, we are trying to raise awareness. And I won't be shy, I won't confess. I use any opportunity. My story, because we are up some very big sources, and you can imagine. I mentioned one of them, a big international corporation with a lot of money and a lot of lawyers. We're up against some legislators who have a good interest in pursuing the interests of that company. And other things, as we know, it takes a while. We don't want to worry about when we turn on our tap what's going to come out. We want to think that the environment is clean and safe. I think we have to be aware and help. Just like we all have our community, our water, our air, our resources, our land, our heart, and fabric with us as people of our community. So, quick look at sequestration. You have a source that's the industrial plant. The CO2 gas is collected before it goes out the stacks, the chemical or mechanical processes. This shows like a bomb stack that's going to go down injection well, down below layers and layers of geology, and it'll go down into the sandstone. And always the companies say there's cat rock there. It's totally solid. There'll be no leaks. So there's a monitoring well, and that's what happened at 88. It was not the injection well, it was the monitoring well. The concrete at the bottom just started to disintegrate. And it released CO2, 8,000 tons at least. I'm not sure that's all. And it migrated up into a level that was not permitted. Now, on these permits, it will allow the CO2 to be in the underground sandstone. It's not supposed to go beyond the capital. Because up above the capital, you can get into layers of aquifer, or that CO2, because it turns into the gas, it wants to rise. And if it gets up to the soil, it can kill crops. If it gets into the air, it defeats the whole purpose, folks. This is supposed to help control CO2 going into the air. So here's another view. But this is the latest thing that is getting a lot of our tax dollars for the money. And so we have a lot of battles ahead. And the claim of industry is, well, this will become, CO2 will become part of the sandstone in 1,000 years or more. I'm not going to be there. I hope that works. But just the whole principle now, we really have to look at the facts and compare and contrast. Get multiple sources, because right now we have a lot of questions. And if the CO2 escapes, the air is affected. Not good. So this is an oil and gas watch, which is the far, I'll say, left alert watchdog for things in industry. And if you go to ADM's website, you won't see anything of this, or take a look sometime. They are claiming they're just perfectly wonderful. Of course, the company is good. But EPA records show that over the last decade, about 10 to 12% of the plant's emissions indicator that were to be captured have been captured. And we have other sources saying that they're releasing more CO2 now from their manufacturing than they have ever done before. So what is this really meaning? I'll use the word from environmental greenwashing. Is that what it is? We just need to look into it. We need to get the facts. We need to get the people aware, and we need to face this head on. So I want to just say I have gone to the East Coast, Washington, D.C., 2017, big march because of rollbacks and environmental regulations. We have to appreciate those regulations and the dedicated civil servants in government that keep them going are key to our health, our individual health, and that of future generations. And we need them there. And we need them to be nonpartisan, and we need them to do their job because, hey, a lot is at stake. And so I've been to Nebraska because tar sands crude oil is really dirty and it's killing boreal forests and ponds, huge ponds of waste they leave up there in the northern territories that I'm making good acres. So there are a lot of opportunities I have had. I have pushed myself to step up and speak out. And when you go to other coal mines down south, I have many times driven 4 hours one way and back to give testimony to hearers. And the poll workers will line up around the room in their work outfits and their moms and their wives and their babies are there. And they all talk about jobs, and I get it. I get it, because we need jobs. We need good paying family, wage supporting jobs. We also need a transition. We need a transition now. We know the science, we managed to leave horses and buggies on. We need to move on, because as a people, as stewards that we should be of this planet, we need to say, okay, we know now carbon-based fuels are dangerous, they're unhealthy, they're polluting, coal, gas, methane, all of those problems. We can fix that. We just have to transition. And we, in Sierra Club environmental groups, are talking about a just, J-U-S-T transition. There's legislation trying to support that. I encourage your consideration. I know everybody's overloaded. Family, school, work, jobs, care of elder parents, care of illness in the family, personal health. All these things weigh on us. The thing that's kept me going is just gorgeous and calling to do something. I had no idea about sewage pipelines until a lady I never heard from, Kathy Campbell, South Springfield, gave me a call 2 weeks before Christmas in 2021. She found my name on the internet. She said, I need help. I got a packet from this company who's going to put a CO2 pipeline in their front yard. After Christmas, we had a letter going out to all our neighbors. We had a fact sheet, we had a question sheet. I had press releases out. We started talking to other groups. Thankfully, to the Online Clean Jobs Coalition, they have a downstate caucus. I gave a presentation there. A lady on that, Pam Richard, with Eco Justice in Champaign, picked it up, got a Zoom going. There's now a statewide Zoom. We have stopped, as a citizen effort, 2 of those long pipelines. One coming from the south, and one coming from the north that would have gone through Texas. And the only reason those got stopped was that there were hundreds of comments from people. We had a great lawyer, and it was community involvement. It was people saying, I can do something, we can do something together. We have a coalition of farm people, longtime families from the land. We have city people. It's just an incredible combination. And it's working because we all came together on this focused issue because we thought it's really a concern and we could do something. And maybe the science will prove that this will all be fine, but right now it's not there as far as we see. So I'm raising that question. I never intended to be an environmentalist, but that's what happened. And I am thankful for that opportunity. I'm thankful for y'all being here. I want to say that we all need clean air because we may not see the toxins, but they will hurt our bodies, cause asthma. Those particles, my mom has COPD, that could really trigger even a heart attack. We need clean water. Your water from the tap looks clear. What is really in that? And somebody's got to be sure. We need a healthy environment. And that's not just for us people. It's for all the living things. Because that is our fabric of life that sustains us, that keeps us going, that gives us joy, beautiful surroundings, that enables us to move forward. We need to move forward together. I think we can do that. And I thank you because, you know, it's for our families and our future. Thank you.
Joyce, thank you, thank you, thank you. So inspiring. If we open it up for questions, any of we have questions for Joyce or want to make comments with her tour, or now is a good time. Question.
So I think lots of times, it's me, it's really feels this way sometimes, but I feel like I'm doing the right thing for the environment and then I find out that I was. And I can think a lot of examples where so what would you say we could be doing or something you think we're doing that we think was right but it's not, or the flip side, what should we do? To just kind of get our individual stories.
Thank you. That's such a great question because I'm with you 100%. I was religiously recycling, sorting out plastic. Then I found out the glass and Peoria that goes in the recycling bins goes to the landfill because it's too costly to ship the glass to try to get it recycled. And plastic is another example. I really think from the news coming out now, the lawsuit in California where the state is suing corporations because of the misinformation about recyclability of plastics and blaming it on the industry that recycles. Hey, wait a minute. No, they all said those little ingredients made to recycle. So to answer your question, I think we just need to keep eyes wide open. Science changes. I remember, smoking, the battle to get the truth about cigarettes. Look at the advancements. So we need to speak up and ask questions. In the meantime, I go to sources that I find trustful. Science in the public interest. There's a variety of sources that keeps up with the science that I can't. Maybe recommends things that I can do step by step at home. It's hard because it takes time. Nobody has extra time. But I think our buying choices are critical. Whatever we buy, that we're making a vote with our dollars. So when you buy a plastic bottle, I hate to say it, but that's petroleum products, folks. So we have choices. They may not be as convenient, but step by step, we could do that. And yes, sir.
I don't know if everybody here knows that in Washington we have a glass recycling container, and that is for clean glass, and that glass does get recycled. Because when we changed from waste management to TFL, it was discovered that, glass and plastic and all that stuff, what you think is recycled isn't. And so to help with TFL, we, in the city, we have a glass recycling container, which is located off Georgetown Road across from the car wash, car wash. And so, if you don't know, that glass is recycled for sure.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
Talking about CO2 recapture with abandoned oil wells. Is there any safe means of CO2 capture?
That is a really good question. So Methane gas and CO2 from old oil wells are a big climate problem. A lot of it, what I am seeing is about the problems, that are capping. There's actually good caps or not. And there's a lot that either aren't capped or that their caps have deteriorated. I know there is some legislation, I believe, and efforts starting on that, and somebody here might know better. But that is a thought that we need regulators to step up and it's to be dealt with by the companies, and oftentimes they can't be tracked. So I know there's some funding now, but you have raised a major issue. Escaping methane from even coal production, coal mining is huge. Illinois right now is the fourth largest producer in the nation. We have to remember that. Yeah, but thank you. The methane and the gas is a big problem. Thank you.
This is support for you, Joyce. I grew up in Washington, so I knew what was going on, going to city council. And about 4 or 5 years ago, you called Unionized and your city council is planning to cut down 2 miles of virgin timber for a new trunk line when there really are other routes they could use. And so living here for over 70 years, you and Victoria called it home. If we could have helped you get these communities, large community groups to discuss it, we probably would have been able to do a lot better job. So with you, you're the one that started this and getting involved in that.
Well, I thank you. We had other leaders in the community that were really helpful and came and Jean Montgomery's here and thank you to our historic home family. But I actually was thinking about that tonight, but then I hear there's this transition. And so I was requested not to bring that issue forward tonight.
Well,
Oh, the moment you're not town is really important.
yeah, well, a lot of people here probably used to hike through that.
Yes. Have you mentioned it was Gulf Springs in the old days? I would really do. But thank you so much for mentioning it.
So program almost every year, I have a story to tell. And not to put on something else. Can you talk about a case or something that happened in one of Washington's schools or why you lived here that you took you memorable?
I mean, there are a couple of things that are really, really amazing. I should say, Mrs. Turner is one of the esteemed teachers. She was amazing. She was tough, but she was amazing. I had been doing, some reports, and I wasn't doing very well, actually. And she came to me and pointed out, and then she started just talking to me, like, what's going on? This isn't, isn't very good, and it was very embarrassing. But then I had to tell her that my dad was very ill. And I hadn't talked to anybody in high school about that. Because in that time, culture, you just didn't do that. But she being a teacher and being a really sensitive teacher and watching her students and, really being there to help her students and see that they succeed, came to me. And that was a pivotal moment where I just really felt a sense of relief. And by golly, it helped me because I did better on the next couple of reports. And so that to me was telling about the people in Washington, the kind of teachers, the care that they have for students and others. And there's other instances with our family members. Our dad was ill, and I could go into, but just that outreach, the chance to talk. And Pat had an incident recently, about she reached out to someone who was in a critical time. And that picking that up and taking time. Thank you so much. That was a great.
appreciate you all coming. Joyce, I think you're such a wonderful representative of Washington. And it's really our honor to celebrate you and the work that you've done. And I think what the Historical Society has done for maybe anybody's business in healthcare, particularly with this root ceremony, I think it's really special to take someone who has grown up in Washington and really has gone out in a variety of fields and really, represent Washington. Really, you've made your mark in the world, and it's been changing other people's views on things. And I think, that's all we can ask and ask, right? That we do. So, thank you, Joyce. Thank you all for coming, and have a wonderful day.
Other